Hey everyone, this is Vikas from SmallAcademy and welcome to another video. In this part, we're going to handle the events on these buttons, as well as we will start extracting the data from our API that we have, and we will extract the JSON data and use those data that we have extracted to get the image and display that image here in the image view. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and start this application building process. So I'm going to open this Android Studio, and right now I'm going to close all this stuff that we don't need. We'll be working on this main activity. So open the main activity.java. Now here, first things first, I'm going to create the floating action buttons variables. Okay, and we have info button, we have download button, and we also have the refresh button. Okay, and here what we'll do, we will connect this variable to our UI component. So info button is going to be connected with our info button layout resource. We have download button, we'll find the view and connect with the download button. Okay, I think I have made some mistakes here, so let me fix that. Let me go to the refresh button. We'll find the ID and add the refresh button. Okay, so what we'll do is whenever somebody click on this refresh button, we will change the cat image and display the new cat image here. Okay, so to do that, we need to handle the event on this refresh button, right? So let me go to refresh button and set on click listener, and using on click listener we can handle the events, that is on click event, and we will display the message that refresh button is clicked, just like that. And we'll also do the same for this download button and info button. So let me go ahead and do that right now. Okay, we'll create the toast, and it says download button is clicked. Download button refresh. Okay, now we have info button, a new on click listener, and we'll add the toast. So info button is clicked. Okay, now let me run this and we'll check if the buttons are working. Okay, you can see refresh button is clicked, download button is clicked, and if I click on this info button, it's going to display the info button is clicked message. Okay, so this event handler are working fine. Now what we'll do, we'll extract the JSON data. Okay, so to extract the JSON data, I'm going to create one method here. So public get image is the name that I want to give, and it's going to take the URL, that is JSON URL. Okay, and now inside this we will extract the JSON data. Okay, now to extract the JSON data, we need this URL, right? So we already have that URL saved in our string here, that is API URL, and we have this API. So in this video, what we'll do is we'll just extract the JSON data from the URL, and we'll try to display that in our logcat, and in the next video we will extract the URL of the cat image and we will display that in the image view. So it will be easier for you to understand. And obviously if you don't understand, if you get confused in any of this video, you can just leave the comment and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, so we'll start the process of extract the data by using the request queue. So we need this request queue to send the request to the server. So request queue, I'll name it as queue, and we'll use volley library to say create the new request queue, and here we'll pass the context. Okay, now the next step is very important, and I will tell you guys why. For the next step, we have to come to this API here and open the API and figure out what kind of symbol we have here. So this is the JSON array. Okay, this bracket symbol symbolize the JSON array, and this curly braces symbolize the JSON object. Okay, so we have two type of array and object in the JSON file. So we have this array of JSON. Inside that we have this JSON object, and inside this object we have 5 items, and those are breadth, ID, URL, width, and height. And we also have this nested JSON array, that is breadth, and inside this breadth we have one more JSON object which is having the 37 items. Okay, so the process of extracting the JSON data is we need to extract the data one by one, keeping the type of symbol that we have here. So we need to first extract the JSON array, and after that we need to extract the JSON object, and again if we want to extract the breed, then we need to extract the JSON array, and if we want the data we need to extract this JSON object. Okay, so it might sound confusing, but don't worry, I will simplify this as we go on programming. So let's go ahead and write the code to extract this JSON array first. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the Android Studio here, obviously. So I'm gonna create new JSON request. So the first symbol that we have is JSON array, right? So I'm gonna create JSON array request. So this is the array request. Okay, now I will create new JSON array request. Now this request is gonna take few parameters. The first thing it's going to take is the type of method that we'll be using to get the data from the server. And if you don't know about that, we have post and get method, and you can search about that in the Google and you'll get lots of information. So I'm not going to explain what is the get and post method. So I will give we will use the get method here. So request.method.get, and now we'll pass the URL, that is the API URL, and here it is a nullable JSON array request. So we'll just pass the null, and now we're gonna need the listener. One is for the response and another one is for the error. So first we'll get the response listener, new response listener. Okay, as well as we will have the error listener. So new error listener. Okay, now whenever the error occur, we'll just display the error message. So error dot get message, it will be sufficient. Now here, if the JSON array request is successful, we're going to get this response, and this response is going to have all these data that we have here. Okay, all this data. So what I will do is I will create the log message just to show you guys what this response is going to look like. So log.d, so log_d, and in the response we will print the response. And let me fix this error of this tag here. Okay, so now to be able to run this array request, we need to pass this through the queue that we have here. So queue, so just after this request, just after this array request, I will add this request to the queue. So queue.add, and we'll pass the array request. Okay, now if I run this application, it should try to go and fetch the data from this particular URL we have given here, and to do that we need to give the internet permissions. So let me go to the Android manifest here, and here I'm going to give the users permission for the internet so that our application can use the internet. If I don't give that, you're not going to be able to extract the data, because we are using internet to extract the data from our API URL. Okay, now we need to call this getImage method somewhere to get the data, right? So what I'm going to do is, whenever we click on refresh button here, I'm going to call this getImage method, and here we need to pass the URL. So we have the URL in our string, so I'm going to use getResources.getString, and here I can call the string.api URL. So it will be able to pass this URL to this particular method here that we have written, and it's going to extract the JSON response. Okay, so moment of truth. Let's go ahead and run this application to see if we can get the desired data. Okay, I'm going to open this logcat here as well, and here now whenever I click on this refresh button here, it should call this getImage method, and it should display the response. If the request is successful, it should display this response to our logcat. If the process is failed, it's going to display this toast message. So let me click on this refresh, and it says the socket failed. You can see, because we are getting some error here. Okay, so to fix this error, I need to uninstall this application. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to uninstall this Kitty app from our emulator. So I'm just going to uninstall this and run this again, and I hope it's going to fix that, because it happened, I got the same error last time and I fixed that using the same method. So I'm going to click on this here right now, and you can see it is giving the response. In the response, you can see we have breed and URL of the image. The breed is empty and the URL is given here. Okay, so this is how we extract the data. So we have given the JSON array request here. You can also give the JSON object request. If instead of this bracket here, if you have something like this, then you have to use JSON object to extract the data. But in case if you use the wrong request here, it's going to give the error here as well. But in our case, we have used the right request, that is it's an array request, because our JSON response start with the array. So we are getting the correct data. So guys, I hope you understood what I'm trying to do here. If not, let me know in the comment section below, and I will be happy to help you, and we'll continue this in the next video.